We are here with Michael Schenker. How are you today, Michael?
I'm fine, thank you.
So you're in Chicago today, playing in Chicago?
Yep.
And the U.S. tour's been going well?
Very well.
Having fun out there with
Absolutely.
the new songs?
Yep.
Yeah. What do you got going? Right now we're at the end of April, so the U.S. tour's only got a little bit more to go, right?
Yeah, we're gonna be, the 3 shows got postponed that we missed in the beginning, and we're gonna put them at the end. So we're basically flying back on the 9th, and then we do Europe, some festivals, then we go to Japan in June, and then the European tour and the UK tour is developing very nicely, and we are also planning going to Australia, South America, and hopefully some more in Asia and bits and pieces. Basically, we're just collecting offers, you know, and wherever we can manage to be and where the routing makes sense and everything, we just play. And so this album we're gonna tour until the last place has been done, you know, any possibilities.
Yeah. And the new album, are you playing most of the songs from this new album?
Well, our set at this point in time here in the States, because it's the first time with Herman and Francis, we are playing basically, of course, Love Drive material, which is the only album we played together before we did Temple of Rock, Bridge the Gap. There is a gap of 17 years in between, I think, and so basically Bridge the Gap was the first album we did together since Love Drive, and Spirit on a Mission, our brand new album, is our second album, and that's the one we're touring right now, Michael Schenker's Temple of Rock, Spirit on a Mission, with Francis Buchholz and Herman Rarebell on the rhythm section, the original rhythm section of the Scorpions, as well as Rock You Like a Hurricane, and then Doogie White from Rainbow, ex-Rainbow, Yngwie Malmsteen, and Wayne Findlay, who has been with MSG since '99, and myself. And so this is the second Temple of Rock album with this lineup, and it's developing into its own identity. You know, it's I have known since after Bridge the Gap, I knew I was going to add much more 7 strings to it. I introduced it a little bit, we introduced it a little bit, Wayne did, and on Bridge the Gap. And so for this album, for Spirit on a Mission, I wanted to have more of that heavy sound, mid-tempo, to get the whole, you know, as many different kind of frequencies as possible, the whole spectrum, you know, like for instance the fast and snappy songs, which basically the whole album, the concept was to design it like a book that reads from beginning to end, and keeps it exciting, and fresh elements here and there coming to the foreground, and keep half of it like really fast and snappy, hard, energetic, melodic, and, you know, just kind of take off and make it sound like it never stops. And then the other part, just give it the heavy part. You know, the 7 string is not that suitable for the fast songs, but for the slower mid-tempo you can put a lot of weight in it. And so by having Wayne involved, it now you know, we actually have an additional songwriting team, you know. And so Temple of Rock is still basically using the Michael Schenker platform, my record deal, etc. But after the next album, the third one with this lineup, I think Temple of Rock is ready to stand on its own feet, and there will be enough material to, you know, to run a whole show, you know, almost with all Temple of Rock material. But at this point, this is our first time in America with this lineup, with the album lineup, and so we kind of focus a bit more on the most popular of Michael Schenker's involvement, and on, of course, of Herman's and Francis's involvement, and also the heydays of Herman and Francis, you know, just so that we do this at least once, you know, and we play material from the Bridge the Gap record and from Spirit on a Mission, about 2 or 3 songs. And so basically at this point in time, it's a very nice balance between people who really look forward to see the classics, you know, it's going to be enough of that, and some new stuff, and for the ones that want to hear the new stuff and maybe some classics, there's going to be enough. So it's going to be fair balance, you know. And but in the future it will, you know, obviously change, because we want to get Temple of Rock, you know, give it the that is our focus point, and of course the must-play songs, they will always be there, but I guess it's just going to be less must-be, but we're going to change the must-be's around from tour to tour, so that, you know, it's always a matter of taste as well, you know, some people like these songs, some people like that, and so, but we are aware of that, so we're making sure that everything is going to be keep changing around.
Do you expect Herman and Francis to be with you for a while now, to keep going?
That's the idea, even though I'm kind of, you know, I might have to let go of Francis, because, you know, the Scorpions and Francis, they have a big problem, and my brother is with the Scorpions, and I'm in the middle of it, and it creates a big problem, you know, but, you know, who knows, you know, it's like, it's a very, very touchy situation, to be honest, you know, and I really have to look at this very, very serious. Maybe have to have a serious word with my brother too, you know, and see how it works. I wish they could just make peace, you know. I always say, look, you did your thing, you know, and Uli and I did my thing, you know. We have our peace and our freedom of expression, you know. We do what, and you know, Herman and Francis, they had their, you know, everybody should basically be very happy. You know, everybody has been fulfilled with their dreams, you know, and so why keep, you know, doing stuff about, you know, I guess it's a money thing, and Francis won the case, you know, and now he's like opening a can of worms, and it's all in the foreground. Now Francis is becoming successful, and I don't think they like it too much, you know. I don't know, it's a bit, it's sad, but that's how it is, and I'm in the middle. I don't want to be in the middle. I just want to have a peaceful life and play my music.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you talk to your brother often?
Huh?
Do you talk to your brother often?
Well, not lately really, because for some reason they you know, they released an album the same time as we did, you know, and it became very messy, so I purposely stayed very far away from it. They wanted me to do, you know, a bunch of things for them and for the 50th anniversary of Scorpions, but I don't want to mix it up with my stuff, you know. My brother already plays the black and white as well, the black and white guitar. He already has his hair blonde, you know. People don't know anymore who's who, you know? So I stay away from it, you know. And anyway, Scorpions is a complete different world, you know. It's not my world, honestly. They do things differently, and I guess they have a different purpose and a different vision than I have.
Yeah. What do you feel is your vision?
My vision is music, you know. I'm fascinated with what I can do with the single string right from the beginning, from when I was 9 years old, and that's where I'm at, you know. It's play and discover, develop, learn, develop, play and discover. I love it, you know, and that's, you know, always coming up with new, wow, it's like treasure hunting, you know. I'll find a new treasure, a combination of notes, you know, wow, this is great, you know. And so, and you know, the piece of creativity and peace of mind and all of that kind of stuff, that goes well with me.
We talked on the phone a couple of months back, and I asked you a little bit about the way you approach playing and the way you discover and modes and all those crazy things, you know. And you talked to me a little bit about, you know, basically I search for the notes I like, basically.
Yeah, it's a bit like this, you know. The last note, it depends on the last note I play, what will be the next one, and that's how it goes, you know. And but it also depends on what notes were played before, of course, and it's just a matter of taste what you choose to put there as a. In general, it's just like a fearless self-expression, you know, fearless, pure self-expression, not worrying about what anybody else thinks, because this is how I see it, and that's what I want to present, you know.
Do you, when you're playing, when you're not on stage, but when you're playing at home, coming up with songs and all that, do you think about patterns, or is that so far behind you that your fingers are just going?
It's play and discover, but there are certain things I don't want to lose, you know. I incorporate them with my things, but there are also the things I incorporate, they also, new things, you know, become part of it. So it's a constant development. And at some point, old developments kind of disappear a bit and new ones take over. And that's why, you know, there has always a constant has always been sounding like me, but goes through different stages and areas, but always with the foundation of a recognizable kind of a thing. But it goes through stages, sometimes. It's a bit like when hair grows, you don't really see it, but if you actually stay away from it, like if you don't know the development in between and you compare like a year before, a year later, you can already kind of see something went in a different direction, but not drastic, just a little bit.
Do you ever purposely sit down and say, I'm going to learn a diminished pattern today?
I don't even know what it means. And I've never, because I fearlessly do exactly how I hear it and feel it, etc., etc. And sometimes I put things together that remind people of something classical thing or a blues or whatever. But of course, it will, because you can categorize any available at this point in time worldwide, any available type of style that is categorized. But there are still things that may have never been put together that are still waiting to be out there, But you cannot be. The whole point is, I've been staying away from music for 43 years as a consumer, and so you can only try so much. Of course, when I go in a restaurant, I hear music. When I go somewhere where people play music, I hear music, but I don't focus on it and I don't consume it. I just. And I don't worry about trends, because that's already out there. People already doing it. If anything, I may create trends, but I'm not following trends.
Mm-hmm. I know, throughout your career, you've been asked a lot of times about scales and patterns and things, and you probably understand why we are always asking you, because as a guitar player, I'm just wondering, like, where did that come from, and how did you play that solo? Because your solos have very out of the normal riffs in them a lot of times.
Yeah, but it's only because I am 100% on focusing how I see it and what I enjoy, and what you can sing. I can sing something, and I play what I'm singing, for instance. It's really not looking over there, period. It's very important. It's just like being yourself consistently. And every person who decides to do that will come out with a very unique, its own thing. Because until you make the decision to be only yourself, that part will never be shown until you decide so, until you let it out. And only you can do it. Nobody knows that place other than you. And that's the uniqueness. But it's a byproduct. It's a byproduct of having fun being yourself and play and discover. And I had nothing in mind when I was doing it other than having fun doing it. And many years later people say like, wow, people playing your style. I went, no way. But it's a byproduct of that behavior.
It's sometimes difficult for people like us
to
learn your solos, because wait, that note doesn't come from the scale. Where did that note come
from? But that's also, that is the thing. If it is something, is a pure self-expression, and it just comes out of really, it's not just notes, it's a timing thing too. And it's very, very difficult to copy timing. Even for me, it's very difficult because it's a moment that is completely free of expression, that involves when you come in with a note. Do you come directly on the beat a little later, or you come in later and then move forward? It's all to do with feel. It's how you want to do it at this point in time. And to even learn that, even the person who played it, it's almost impossible, unless you really measure it. You measure it with numbers, and then you really, even then if you do it, you have to put the same emotion, the same strengths, or how you hit the string, etc., etc. There is thousands of little details involved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is probably one of your Dean signature models?
Yeah, this is the retro. That's my first black and white design with the Michael Schenker group, and that first album I did had this design, and so that came out a couple of years ago as a we call it the retro re-release.
Is this your main guitar tonight?
No, it's I have a yin and yang, also black and white, and I have the one is called Power Channel, which is a copy of my very first Dean guitar in 2004-2005, but it changed look because I started putting things like a howler on there, and then I had a magnet here that was holding my howler and stuff like that, and it kind of started to develop its own individual look, and people wanted to have that guitar, and so Elliot decided to make an exact copy of that, and so that is one of the guitars. And I have a new guitar, a black and white guitar. They're all a little bit different. They all sound great. They all I love playing them all, and but basically they come up with ideas, on I don't follow technology, I don't follow what is out there, what improvements. Some people have like automatic tuners and flashlights coming out of stuff like that. I don't really pay any attention to that. I focus on the music, but when they have ideas and they want to bring something new out, I approve it or disapprove it, and if it sounds great and it plays great, let's do it.
Right. I noticed that a lot of times you don't cut the strings.
I never do.
Why?
Because it's not necessary. I don't need to cut the string. I just put it on and play.
Do you ever feel that it affects the tone to cut it? That's not the issue.
That's got nothing to do with anything other than it's a waste of time cutting.
But aren't you afraid you might poke your eye on it?
No, it's very soft.
Singer, you're going to come up with the guitar in your singer's face.
It's very soft, and I think when you have short ends, they're much more dangerous because they're stiff.
Yeah,
and they really, when you get into those, they really go all the way.
Yeah.
This one bend, look, I can go like this, nothing happens.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Cool. All right. So where do you go? You're in Chicago tonight. I don't know. Do you even know where you're at tomorrow night, or where are you headed?
Pontiac tomorrow, and then we're gonna go to Colorado, and then we're already on the way to the West Coast. We're doing the Los Angeles area, and then we go back up Seattle and Portland
for those makeup shows.
Yeah, and San Jose.
Right. So do you think you'll be back in the States? Do you have any other dates in the States later this year that you know?
Well, that is the thing, because what we are doing is after we finish in America, we're going to Europe. We're doing festivals, which is like usually shorter sets, and so we don't have to change that much for that. But when we go to Japan, with already our beginning of adding more 7-string guitar and adding more of that heavy sound to it, and that will be the next step of the development of Temple of Rock, and then it will make its way through to Japan and then Europe and the UK, and then whatever else has been accepted offers, which they keep coming in, and so, but by say like in 3-4 months from now, we have a complete new picture of what additionally is going to happen, and depends on how things in America develop, how people see what's going on over there, etc., etc. We might end up actually finishing the Spirit on a Mission tour in the US with the new program.
Why are you changing the program partway through?
Well, because that we started off when Pete Way got sick, and we had to look for a bass player, and I said to Herman, why don't you ask Francis? We're playing those Scorpion songs, and that was the time when Doogie joined and Francis, and that was the beginning of when it clicked. So we went out and started touring. But it was the first Temple of Rock album which Michael Voss was singing, and he wasn't available to sing us, so that's why I started off in America with Robin McAuley, then Michael Voss in Japan, and then it was Doogie's was Europe, and that's when Francis joined, and so wow, you know, all of a sudden it felt like here's something going on, and so I quickly managed, you know, arranged for DVD just in case something happens, you know, so at least I had a memory. And then, but it was getting like stronger, and you know, it was just so much fun, you know, the audience but we had no album out yet, you know. Then we made the album, and the album was lying around for 7 months. Can't even remember the reason. I guess it was not with time to release, or we were touring or whatever. So we had an album out already. We were already touring, but the album was not out. It was just lying there. And then eventually the album came out. And but then we already were in different parts of the country. Then I came over here without Herman and Francis because it was too hectic to arrange it. So I was playing here with Ref Jones and Pete Holmes, the American rhythm section, and you know, and so that's what I'm talking about. You know, like. That's why we're here now for the first time with Francis and with Herman, doing what we maybe did. You know, a year or two before in Europe, you know, but not exactly the same because we are adding other MSG songs to it, etc., etc. So, but it's more like because America has never seen it before, so we need to do what we need to do at this point in time. And if we come back in 2016. With this album one more time, with the next program, which will change around when we do Japan, and so you know, because of album, it's not like we made an album and then we went on tour and then we made another album and went on tour. We didn't start off like that. We started off touring, 2 European tours without an album, you know. And so we had to do something in Europe. We had to change something, otherwise you're going to show up with the same things. But we can't just skip all of this and come to America with the other stuff. It does not mean you're behind. It's just, you know, it's just you haven't seen it, you know. And if we leave it out, then the demand will be there for people to see it. So, you know, of course you can see it on YouTube, but it's just different.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it tonight.
Yeah.
And. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.